Hey folks, almost 2 years ago I reviewed Bloodrayne, an interesting and fairly janky TPS from 2002, developed by Terminal Reality. Back then I said that their previous classic game Nocturne was on my to-play list, and now I finally played it. It has been quite the experience. Man, I love this cinematic. It's like watching the intro of a TV series, like X-Files or something about mystery and occult. I don't know who these actors are, and I have not even been able to find out, but some of them look very similar to the characters you meet in the game, which itself has an episodic structure, as if it were indeed a series themed around monsters, mystery and horror. It really sets the mood for the following game. So, in Nocturne we play as the Stranger, an operative at the secret agency Spookhouse, founded by Theodore Roosevelt himself to counter supernatural threats after he killed a werewolf in Cuba. Seriously, I'm amazed at how manly good old Ted is even in video games. Anyway, the game doesn't waste time with long introductions and expositions, and all this lore is found in the manual, alongside the biographies of all the main and secondary characters. Oh yes, also the various types of enemies. I really miss this kind of manuals. By selecting Start, we can see 4 selectable acts or volumes, all set in different periods. Each one focuses on a mission set in a specific location, where Stranger is called upon to solve a case of supernatural activity, sometimes assisted by a member of the Spookhouse. Let's say there's a certain continuity in between them. The first act, titled Dark Reign of the Vampire King, is basically just another day at work, where Stranger is called back to the Spookhouse to be briefed on his next assignment, and here we meet some of the main characters, such as Colonel Campbell, sorry I meant Colonel Epscombe. Why did I say Campbell? Oh yes, for that reason. And the unnamed receptionist, in charge of welcoming the agents, who must recite the password.
The world is a dark place.
Who will protect the world from darkness?
We will.
You can imagine how much the Stranger enjoys this practice. The Stranger is a legendary killer of monsters with years of field experience. He's stoic, reserved, and also a very edgy one-liner with a deep, rough voice.
On this mission,
A partner? Who?
Svetlana Lupescu. I know you really don't like her,
I don't
stranger,
like anyone. I hate monsters.
You can't kill him. He's immortal.
If you only knew how many immortal creatures I've killed.
This man is a freaking edgelord. His eagerness to kill monsters even made me question if he even feels compassion for those in need.
Stranger.
Well, in truth, he actually does, but in his own way.
Get back, fiend! I'll do you in for just like I did all your other demon kin!
Calm down, old man. If you want to stay alive, come with me.
Forget it! We're staying right here till this whole thing passes over.
It's your funeral.
Wait. Where are you gonna take us?
You'll be safe at the church.
Anyway, the game itself is an action horror with fixed camera angles and tango rolls. The first impression is quite disorienting, but the basic commands are quite easy to learn, and I recommend activating auto-aim and automatic use of medikits in the menu. You'll understand why later. The first act of Nocturne is perhaps my favorite of the bunch, because it shows all the best the game has to offer. For this mission, Stranger will be sent to Germany, accompanied by the half-vampire Svetlana Lupescu. His task will be to recover a vampiric artifact called the Yatfogul, and also investigate about the presence of werewolves sighted in the
The
area.
entire area is crawling with werewolves.
I thought you killed all the werewolves in Germany.
Before leaving for the mission, we must absolutely stop by Dr. Holiday, who will provide us with a weapon capable of insta-killing
I'll
vampires.
take my chances. What do you call it?
It's the Charged Radiance Emitter, or more colorfully, the Son of God.
Nice. Anything else?
In addition, we must stock up on assorted bullets and a doctor's bag, and keep in mind that if you ever proceed directly to the elevator, you lose the chance of acquiring such vital equipment, so be careful. Nocturne is a game focused on exploration, a bit of puzzle solving, and of course, keyanding. After the initial encounter with a crazy survivor of the nearby settlement who rises from a tomb in the graveyard, we'll have to explore the surrounding walls and collect a key that is required to open the door to the crypts, which are the only way to access the village.
I can't go on. We're nearing holy ground. I'll find another way in.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead and enter the village through the crypt.
Once inside its walls, we must be ready to fight. By pressing the letter D, Stranger will draw his signature pistols or another selected weapon. The pistols can fire for different types of bullets. Standard ones are useful against everyone, while Mercury ones are deadly for sentinels, imps and demons, Silver for werewolves and zombies, and Aqua Vampirica for, well, vampires. The first part in the village is not bad, and we can appreciate how the game creates suspense with the smart use of the soundtrack and change of camera angles. Oh yes, the camera angles. Remember when I recommended to activate the auto-aim? This is why. See, due to the fixed camera angles, fights in Nocturne can be a friggin' nightmare, because enemies often appear out of frame and cannot be seen. I had to keep my weapons drawn at all times, so I could tell when an enemy was close by. It's one of the main issues of the game. Anyway, aside this problem, I have to say that Nocturne has a fantastic sound design for its time. We'll understand when an enemy is attacking us thanks to its growls and steps, and especially the dynamic soundtrack. And I also have to praise the lighting effects, because sometimes I notice the monster approaching thanks to its shadow. Nocturne is not a particularly difficult game, but it has some difficulty spikes, which could be caused by the shortage of medkits or the presence of traps. The next part in the forest is the one I suffered the most the first time I played it, because I missed some supplies, like this hidden doctor's bag in the wreckage. To survive this place, it's vital to locate Yuri's house, a survivor who has a lot of spare ammo, medkits and a crossbow, which can also be found elsewhere, in case we miss it here. And guess what? I originally missed this location, and thus had a very hard time to pass this chapter. See, in this forest, a lot, I mean really a lot, of werewolves start to spawn out an hour, but fortunately Svetlana is very strong with her blades, and surprisingly, her pathfinding doesn't make her fall into dead pits. However, I haven't mentioned yet the game's other major flaw, that is, the horrible platforming. Believe me, I'd really like to know who was the clever guy who had the idea to implement platforming sections in a fixed camera action game. The jumping in Nocturne feels really out of place, and there are parts where I had to reload multiple times. It reminds me of Ultima 8. Continuing, Castle Gaustadt is one of my favorite parts in the whole game. It can be quite difficult if you have consumed all the medkits in the previous level, but if we explore carefully we'll find some vital supplies on tables and inside chests, not to mention secret passages. We can also obtain again the crossbow. It fires wooden bolts like a Gatling gun, which are very useful against vampires, especially if we fire the blessed ones. The Son of God is also quite fun to use, but it has a long cooldown between each shot. In this castle we'll face some new enemies, for example the gargoyles, who come to life when Stranger turns his back on them. I think it's a nice touch, and you also have a limited time to kill them before they turn back to stone. Then there are the vampire brides, who can fly and teleport. I have to say that the enemy design in Nocturne is sometimes superb, and these skimpy bloodsuckers have a certain sensuality. I mean, their veils are practically transparent, and reveal frontal nudity I never expected. And still speaking of nudity, the game goes even further with the succubi in human form. Damn, terminal reality dared in such things like few others. Those were different times.
That's the point. I don't have time for your distractions, succubus.
Anyway, this castle has a well-made level design, with many interconnected areas, nice verticality, some puzzles, and some evilish traps. I've also lost count of how many times I've died from falling from too high, but there are worse annoyances. Just saying, it's easy to get lost, and in the underground sections there are some hateful traps, like this spiked ceiling, or these pendulum blades. The fight with the boss is fine, and to kill him we'll need to inflict a final strike with an artifact weapon. Then I also liked the ending of the episode, that has an interesting twist.
So cheer up.
What I appreciated about Nocturne is how the authors try to make each act different from the others, both in terms of setting, featured enemies, and available weapons.
Okay. What's the situation?
At the start of the second volume, we'll be attacked by werewolves while traveling on a moving train. To better survive the situation, we'll need to retrieve the silver bullets from inside a crate, which we'll need to open with explosives. And to avoid being killed by the blast, we'll need to place them in a spot from which we can fire them from a safe distance. Then we'll be ready to fight our way through the wagons, until we finally get to the boss fight. The next part feels very much like a classic zombie movie, in this town where we'll initially have to find items for a ritual. Then we'll have to search and rescue the survivors scattered in their homes, and escort them to the church to safety. Luckily, escorting them doesn't take much time, and for this occasion we'll also get a double-barreled shotgun that fires at the speed of a semi-automatic. I loved it. However, it's better to save ammo and kill everyone with the axe. This isn't fun. Anyway, the next section in the underground tunnels is a bit tricky to navigate. I got completely lost. Here I particularly hated the fixed camera angles, which made it very unnerving to spot hidden enemies. Eventually, we find ourselves in the underground temple, where we'll have to face trials and prevent the awakening of some sort of evil deity. And along the way, we'll encounter some really nasty monsters that I didn't like at all. Well, it could have been worse. Perhaps not my favorite volume, but still quite distinguishable. The third act is the one that surprised me the most, because it takes place in the city of Chicago, and the story, well, Al Capone is raising an army of Frankenstein-like gangsters, and Spookhouse is called to stop all this before it's too late. I mean, damn.
His undead army of evil will walk over the face of the earth.
This is serious business, stranger.
If you say so.
Once arrived, Stranger has a meeting with an informant called Vincenzo Gasparo, aka Icepeak, who is one of the results of such experiments, but is actually a good-hearted man who decided to help to stop the creations of monsters like him.
I make it a habit to kill monsters, not help them.
Hey, first off, I might look hideous, but I'm trying to stop this from happening to anyone else. I didn't ask for this. And second...
So, this chapter amazed me for one big reason. The city level is enormous. As always, I got lost and visited a lot of places, some easy to find and others quite hidden, and collected a ton of medikits and ammo for the newly acquired Tommy gun. In the meantime, I fought and killed many mobsters that respawn continuously and travel on board of cars that insta-kill stranger whenever they hit him. All this abundance also left me kinda perplexed. Maybe a lot of content was cut, otherwise there would be no explanation for this large amount of explorable buildings that are only optional. By the way, after visiting a lot of deserted shops and maybe what looked like a brothel, I finally found the right place to continue the mission, which was actually indicated earlier by iSpeak, but I missed it. I'm very careful.
Right? I got the information you need.
Next, I had to escort iSpeak to a certain location, and unlike the survivors of the previous zombie city, this big idiot gave me problems. He got hit by cars and died several times, but fortunately it didn't last long, and the later parts are much more fun. In a movie theater, I had to retrieve the evidence of the creation of the Frankenstein-like mobs, and also face Smiley, Al Capone's clean-up man.
Who the hell are you?
They call me Smiley. I'm Capone's cleanup man, and you're the garbage.
You know what? I love this entrance. For the occasion we'll get the elephant gun to kill him. It's very powerful, but unfortunately its ammunition is extremely limited. Later we'll obtain the flamethrower and use it to set the mobs on fire throughout these warehouses full of explosives. The flamethrower is one of the funnest weapons, but the stranger can also catch fire and die quite horribly. But I must admit that I hella like this burning effect that consumes people before they explode. It's just ludicrous. So, we'll end up in Al Capone's factory that needs to be blown up, and here I surprisingly got soft-locked. Yes, I got soft-locked near the end and needed to restart the whole act. See, when I was supposed to run to the exit of the level as soon as possible, I instead wasted some time wandering around, and automatically a piece of debris fell on Stranger, killing him. It's unavoidable, and I didn't have a save state to try to resolve the situation, and so I had to restart everything. Thanks, game. And then comes the fourth and last act, titled The House at the Edge of Hell, which I enjoyed, though some parts annoyed me a bit.
Just before I came to Spookhouse.
That's right.
In the first section, we'll have to deal with an infestation of undead, in a cemetery which is a rather large location, and just like Chicago, it felt unnecessarily vast. I mean, I lost a lot of time exploring the whole place, but all the necessary elements were just in the first area. There are some puzzles to solve, some of which even kill Stranger if done incorrectly, and the present enemies are simple imps, and unkillable skeletons that just revive after a while. What distinguishes this volume is the second part, where Stranger, due to unfortunate events, ends up prisoner inside an immense mansion full of traps, monsters, and deadly puzzles. I initially described the game as an action horror, because the player is always well armed to fight evil, but in this case we start with nothing. It truly becomes a survival horror, where we'll have to be resourceful to survive. At the beginning we'll be locked in a cell with a chained werewolf and have to find a secret door to escape the room. After a while we'll be able to obtain a spear as a weapon to fight the numerous ghouls that infest the rooms, and it will take some time and many struggles until we'll finally get our hands on firearms like the shotgun and the crossbow. And in the meantime, we'll have to overcome deadly puzzles and traps, like this checkerboard floor, where one misstep will cause us to explode. Dimension contains all the best and worst of Nocturne. It's highly interconnected, with secret passages, keys to find, and a lot of backtracking. It also lasts much longer than many of the other parts, and I constantly got lost. But that's because of my skill issues. Towards the end, I even got soft-locked again, because of a puzzle involving rotating this mirror to direct two colored beams at the crystals to open the door above. Yes, I fucked up, and because I quick-saved at the wrong time, I had to restart the whole thing. That said, remember kids, make a backup save at the beginning of each new area, and don't rely solely on the quick-save, or you'll end up like me. One puzzle I hated in particular was this one with the moving steps, where we have to jump and quickly activate the levers before getting crushed. Well, in the end, Dimension was an experience like few others, and after seeing the ending, the selection of acts features a short and playable epilogue that shows a very unexpected and macabre plot twist that paves the way for a sequel we unfortunately never got. Or rather, it was revised and transformed into the first Bloodrayne, which I personally consider to be set in a parallel narrative universe. Let's be honest, Nocturne deserved its sequel, but apparently poor sales prevented it from being greenlit. It's still a great game, with perhaps some major flaws, but overall it's a love letter to the horror classics, and boasts excellent graphics and sound for the time. Perhaps the soundtrack becomes a bit repetitive, but the rest of the sound design creates the right atmosphere, and the detailed pre-rendered backgrounds are visually stunning, all enriched with dynamic shadows and surprisingly advanced cloth physics. Just look at Stranger Strange. It moves even without wind in closed rooms. I was also amazed by the voice acting. Each main character has a clear personality, though they may seem a bit caricatured, and the overall script is never too banal. Sure, it's not Soul River, but given the tone of the game, it does its job very well.
I know nothing.
Stranger, you cannot interrogate these people like criminals. You are scaring them even more. I swear, you have the social skills of Attila the Hun.
The man of mystery. You know, your dark past is not so secret in my realm. I know all about you.
Fascinating.
And guess what? Just like The Legend of Dragoon, the infamous Italian dubbing was the original reason I discovered this game. It has hilarious moments, and is generally considered a meme in the Italian gaming boards. Anyway, this game needs some fixes to run on modern systems. The necessary steps and links are listed in the dedicated page on PC Gaming Wiki. It's nothing complicated, and I strongly recommend to include the fix for the slow menus, otherwise you'll have to wait many seconds just to access the options and save the games to load. It's freaking unnerving. To finish, Nocturne is the cult classic I had to play sooner or later, and maybe in the future I'll also give a try to Blair Witch Project Volume 1, which is set in the same narrative universe and features Dr. Holiday as the main playable character and Stranger and Svetlana as NPCs. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it gave you an idea of how amazing this game is. Each volume felt like playing a B-horror movie, and the historical period between the 20s and the 30s gave it a noir feel that enriched everything. It's clearly a product of its time. Those controls and fixed camera angles were the standard, but as a game from 1999, Nocturne is technically and visually impressive and took full advantage of the hardware of the time. I think it's a historic take on the horror genre that's still worth playing, and maybe one day we'll even see a remaster with some tweaks. That said, as always, a warm thanks to all viewers, and see you in the next entry.
This is ridiculous.
Everyone has to say the password, stranger.
The world is a dark place.
Who will protect the world from darkness?
We will, after we play our stupid games.
Have a nice day.
What's left of it.